Hi everyone, welcome to another impromptu musing on LLMs video. I'm probably going to put out one of these a week, just while I'm sort of dabbling in this side project. And I thought it'd be a good way to sort of keep everybody up to date as to where I am in terms of my sort of current interest in large language models, and also to just pass on any useful resources I find as I'm rummaging through online stuff. So this is one of these. Here's some useful resources, knock yourself out. But just a little bit of housekeeping up front, so also you know sort of what ecosystem I'm leveraging at the moment. So for the stuff where I'm just kicking the tires, in terms of just getting my head round the most recent changes with LLMs, I'm using CodeLlama, as I mentioned before, and I've had a bit of a clean out recently, and currently on my main machine I'm just set up with a couple of large language models, and they're the most distilled version, so they're the smallest ones, and that's DeepSeek-R1, which I actually downloaded several days ago, and then also the most distilled version of CodeLlama. I did have a couple of other ones in here, but I didn't want to get distracted, so I cleaned them out. And the other good thing I've done is we have updated our internet connection, and I've got a new Wi-Fi dongle, because I was definitely seeing a lot of trouble, really more to do with the Wi-Fi adapter on my machine. So that's now all in place. So certainly downloading these isn't going to be a lot better. And also as a knock-on, I was having one or two problems on sites where there was heavy graphics and advertising. So I'm hoping my other videos outside of this one, there'll be some improvement, particularly when I'm using sites like CubeCobra for my Magic the Gathering videos. So yeah, just so you know where I am in terms of ecosystems. For the programming polyglot project I'm using, I'm still doing Copilot for that mainly, and then using some other online large language models to just tweak code here and there. But what I wanted to talk about in this video is a couple of resources that I think people might find useful if you're trying to get your head around large language models, and maybe just artificial intelligence and the whole nature of sort of neural networks. I found a couple of, I think, very useful resources. One is this portal, which I haven't used before. I've used other Stanford free resources in terms of, you know, the CS50 group of courses, but it's the first time I've inadvertently made myself aware of this, which is Stanford Engineering Everywhere. And I found it as a result of me locating CS229, which is a course that's offered by Stanford about machine learning, and then finding out they do a version of it through this Stanford Engineering Everywhere portal. And if you want to understand a little bit more about it, you can just read here. There's a very brief bit of blur, but basically it's a way in which they give out materials to students and educators at no charge. So they happen to have, under the artificial intelligence section, they've included a version of CS229. And this is really nicely laid out. You've got all the lectures, the watch now, you can download it, PDF. Also, which is really nice, you can download all the course materials, and that contains all the nice sort of links to videos on YouTube. So yeah, there's 20 lectures, and yeah, a lot of stuff here, handouts, resources. If you want to work your way through the problem sets, you can do that. There is also solution files. Then off the back of that, I've discovered this course. So this is something called Transformers United. They're on the 4th iteration of this. So there's, you know, in version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. And this is the one I'm going to actually sort of dig deep into, I think, over the next few weeks. Start watching the videos, start going through some of the slides, using in turn, the idea is for also me to use some of the large language models to find out more about, what they're talking about. So in this one, if you go through the schedule, you'll find there's all sorts of links here. So you've got recordings. Now, for this iteration, I haven't been through all of these, but these links only go so far. But what I've discovered is a rather handy playlist of all of the versions of this course on YouTube, which they've put together. Okay, so if you want to sort of see the evolution of the course. But what I've also done is I've created a stripped down version of this, which just has the version 4 parts. Now, what you will notice if you go through this is there is one video missing, and it is this one. And I can't find it anywhere on YouTube at the moment. If I do find it, I'll add it in, but there doesn't seem to be this one included. Not sure why. Maybe there's a copyright issue. I don't know. But anyway, it does have a recommended reading, so you can actually read the article that I believe the speaker is talking around. So yeah, I thought you'd find that very useful. But certainly I think I'm going to start off with this CS25. The other thing I've done is on the original list, when you get to version 4, they've included at the end a chopped up version of the second video from V4, which just has the second half of the second video in it. For my one, I've actually taken that out because you can watch it as you go through anyway. But this is a really interesting video just to watch on its own, and there's a really interesting part in it which I made some notes about very quickly because the speaker in it was talking about approaches to actually keeping up to date with the whole large language development process. How do you manage to keep up with everything? What do you look at? And what I thought was really handy, and I'll just sort of share it on the screen here, see if I can get in. I did put it somewhere. Where's it gone? 25. So I'm just doing this off screen. Here we go. Yeah, the whole thing of change and studying change. So early on in this second half of the lecture, the second speaker talks about effective ways or steps for studying change in domains of study, but he was specifically talking about how applying it to transformers, the study of transformers. And I've just been playing around with this and a few prompts actually I wanted to use. That's why there's 2 versions of this. But I thought this was really cool. So identifying the dominant driving forces behind the change, understanding the dominant driving forces, and then predicting a future trajectory as a way of informing your studies, so you don't end up drowning in a sea of information in order to try and get up to speed on transformers because the field's changing so much. And he uses a really good illustration early on in the lecture, revolving around sort of dropping a pencil and what the dominant forces are behind that change of it being in your hand and then being on the floor. And it illustrates very succinctly how you might go through for anything and think about what is the dominant driving force. And obviously he's specifically applying it to the study of transformers. So there we go. I think I'll end that there. Hopefully that's a few interesting things to think about if you are, scratching that itch on large language models and you want a few places to get traction because it's very confusing. And so hopefully you'll find those useful. Thanks once again for watching. I will include any links I've spoken about in the description bye for now, and I will catch you in a future video.